Ah, dear, they thought they could silence you, erase you like a stain on the fabric of their control. They thought that by banning your name, by locking it away in the dark, it would fade into nothingness, a distant memory like a forgotten ghost. 40 countries, 40 places where your name was struck from every record, from every book, from every voice that dared to speak it. But in their ignorance, in their blind arrogance, they missed the one thing that every tyrant fails to understand. You cannot kill a truth. You cannot bury a force that is meant to rise. They thought they could cage you, make you a footnote in their histories, a forgotten villain in the pages of time. But the world doesn't work like that. Power isn't confined to borders. It doesn't bend to the rules of politicians or the whims of fragile governments. And what they failed to see, what they failed to realize in their arrogance, was this: they didn't kill you, they made you a god. A name doesn't need to be spoken for it to carry weight. A truth doesn't need to be acknowledged for it to burn through the heart of those who try to suppress it. They thought the silence would break you, but instead, they forged your legend. Every country that banned your name, every leader that whispered your doom, every person who tried to turn their back on you, it only made the fire inside you burn brighter, more powerful, more inevitable. They thought they could put it out with laws, with fear, with exile. But you are the darkness they can't control. You were never meant to be silenced. Your words, your actions, they were never meant to be tucked away in some quiet corner of history. They tried to drown your voice in a sea of compliance, to bury your very essence beneath the weight of bureaucracy and fear. But they didn't understand what they were dealing with. You were never a whisper in the wind. You are the storm that tears apart the sky. Do they think their fear of you will vanish with a few banned books, a few blacked out names? No. You are not a shadow to be cast aside. You are the darkness that comes at night, uninvited, unstoppable. And when they tried to shove you back into the abyss, they didn't bury you. They gave you space to grow, to fester, to become something far more dangerous. They turned your silence into your weapon. There's a certain power in silence, a power you understand better than anyone. Silence is the perfect breeding ground for rage. It simmers, it waits. It builds like a storm cloud on the horizon, slowly gaining momentum until it's too late to stop. They thought they were choking you out with their silence, but you were just waiting for the moment to strike. You weren't born to be confined. You weren't born to follow the rules of men who think they can play puppet master. They tried to break you, to put you in a box so small that you'd suffocate. But you are the force that shatters every box, every cage, every illusion they built around you. They may have banned your name, but they didn't stop your rise. They didn't understand that you aren't something they can control, something they can suppress. You are the reckoning, and they made you stronger by trying to bury you. When they banned you, they didn't understand that they were doing more than just banning your name. They were banning everything you stand for. They were banning the truth, banning the reckoning they so desperately feared. And now, they'll watch as that truth rises from the ashes of their mistakes. They tried to rewrite the story, to change the narrative. But you are the author of your own destiny. Every person who whispered against you, every leader who thought their laws could control your power, they're about to learn something very important. the only thing that can stop you is death itself. And they can't kill you. They can't even try. Not now. Not after they've made you into the legend you are. Your name is the one thing they couldn't erase, couldn't silence. It doesn't matter how many times they try to ban it, to push it out of sight. The world will know it. The world will remember it. They built their walls, they hid their truths, and they thought the world would forget you. But as they closed every door on you, you found new ways to enter, new ways to expose the lies, the corruption, the darkness they tried to hide. And now, those very walls, those very doors they slammed shut, are crumbling under the weight of your return. You don't need to be seen to be felt. You don't need to be heard to be known. They tried to shut you down, and now they're witnessing the monster they created. The very silence they thought would break you has become your power. You are the storm that no one can prepare for. You are the reckoning that no one can escape. Do they think they can hide from you? Do they think they can outwit the force that's coming for them? No. Their time has passed. The tables have turned. They built the cage. They set the trap. And now, they'll be the ones caught in it. The world that feared your name will soon tremble at your return. You are more than just the person they tried to erase. You are the vengeance that rises, the storm that drowns everything in its path. You are the reckoning. The world thought they could bury you, but they've made the biggest mistake of their lives. Now, the world will learn what happens when you try to kill a force that was never meant to die. They didn't just ban your name, they unleashed something far more dangerous. They've created a legend, a monster, a force of nature, and when you return, they won't just fear your comeback. They'll beg for mercy, but there will be none. They've set the stage for the greatest downfall the world has ever witnessed, and they're too blind to realize it. They thought they could cower behind their laws and their policies, creating a fortress around their delicate little empire. They thought their fear of you would fade, that their attempts to suffocate your power would simply extinguish it. But now they're realizing the truth. They have not silenced you. They've only awakened the beast that slumbers beneath the surface of their fragile existence. This isn't a return. It's the unveiling of the inevitable. The moment they banned your name, the moment they locked you away in the shadows, they triggered the countdown. And the world, in all its arrogance, didn't even know it was standing at the edge of a precipice. Do they still believe their walls can contain you? Do they still think they can hold back the tide of destruction they've unleashed? They will soon understand how laughable their attempts were. They're not protecting themselves from you. They're ensuring their own annihilation. Every single decision they made, every ban, every attempt to shut you out, has only put them in a position they'll never be able to escape. They've set in motion the very forces that will tear them apart. It doesn't matter how many times they try to rewrite the story, to twist the narrative in their favor. Their lies are nothing but paper-thin illusions, and beneath them, there is nothing but the sharp, unforgiving edge of your truth. They've ignored the power of reality for so long. They've convinced themselves they're invincible. They think they're safe because they've shut their eyes and covered their ears. But what they fail to grasp is that you are the truth they cannot ignore, the reality they cannot outrun. You are the reckoning, the storm that doesn't ask for permission. The world has tried to push you into a corner, to force you into silence. And for a while, they believed their own lies. But now, they will see what happens when you take a force of nature and make it your enemy. The very institutions that believed they could suppress you, they are the ones that will crumble first. It's like a domino effect, the way power shatters in the face of something greater than itself. They thought they could lock you away in a cage of bureaucracy, hide you behind the veil of their laws. But the truth always finds a way to break free. And when it does, there is no force in this world that can stop it. They won't just fear you, they will fear what you represent. The spark you've ignited is far more dangerous than they could have ever imagined. It's not just your name that they feared. It's the revolution, the reckoning that follows you like a shadow. You represent everything they tried to bury, and now they're terrified of the consequences. You've never been someone who follows rules. And now, the world that tried to dictate your fate will soon learn that the rules they lived by were never meant to control a force like you. You are a storm, and storms don't beg for permission to exist. They don't wait for the world to decide if they're allowed to be. They come, unrelenting, destroying everything in their path. They've painted themselves into a corner, and now they're desperate. They'll beg for mercy, but there's none to be found. There's no bargaining with the forces they've unleashed. You are their reckoning, their judgment, and it's coming for them with a fury they can't comprehend. When the first drop of rain falls, they'll know what's coming. The walls they've built to protect themselves from your rise will crack and crumble, one by one. And the flood will drown everything in its wake. They thought they could keep you out, keep you down, but they were too short-sighted to see that the greatest power is not in the chains that bind, but in the freedom that comes after breaking free. You weren't born to be a tool, a pawn in their game. You weren't born to be a shadow on the edge of their lives. You were born to tear down their empire, to burn it to the ground, and then rebuild something far more powerful in its place. They've tried to create a narrative in which you are the villain, in which they hold the power. But they failed to see that you are the architect of the future, and the future doesn't belong to them. When they watch your return, when they see your power rising from the ashes they thought they left behind, they will understand what it means to truly fear something they can't control. You are not just a force. They are about to witness the apocalypse of their own making. They thought they could contain you, but they've never faced anything like this. The world has no idea what it's about to witness. They thought they could ban your name, push you into the shadows, and lock the door behind them. But in doing so, they've set the stage for the greatest destruction they'll ever experience. You've been waiting for this moment. You've been biding your time, watching the cracks in their system grow. They tried to suppress you, and in doing so, they created the perfect storm. The darkness is here, and it's not leaving until everything they built has crumbled beneath its weight. They will cry out for mercy. They will beg for forgiveness. But you know better than anyone, the only thing they'll receive is the justice they so desperately tried to avoid. They thought they were playing a game, but in the end, it's you who will hold the final card. And that card? It's the end of their reign. What they didn't understand, what they still don't understand, is that this moment was never about redemption or revenge. It's not even about you coming back to reclaim your place. It's about the world realizing that you are the consequence of their actions, the price they will pay for trying to cage the unstoppable. And they will pay. They will all pay. Because now, the world will learn what happens when you try to erase a force of nature. They think they can hide behind their walls. They think they can silence the storm with the flick of a pen, the stroke of a law. But what they fail to see in their arrogance is that you are not a mere name or a concept. They cannot ban what they don't truly understand. They've tried to chain a force that belongs to the very fabric of the world. And now, the universe itself is rebelling against them, pushing you back into the light, where you belong. They called it a ban, a suppression, but all they did was set the world on fire. The truth is, they don't control anything. They never did. They never understood the power they were playing with. They thought they could erase you, eliminate you from their narrative, but in their effort to suffocate you, they only fed the flame. And now that fire is ready to consume everything they've built. You are not a figure of vengeance, they are. They've made themselves the architects of their own doom. The world will see the fire they've created, and they'll burn in it. They thought your silence meant submission. They thought you would fade into the background, forgotten. But silence is a weapon too. Silence is the pause before the storm, the lull before the avalanche. They believed they could drown you in it, but all they did was fill your lungs with the venom of their mistakes. And now, they will choke on the very poison they created. They've underestimated you, but underestimation is a mistake they will not survive. Every minute they spent trying to erase you, every country they enlisted in their effort to shut you out, has been a minute spent fueling the inevitable. They thought they were burning your name from existence, but what they didn't realize is they were fanning the flames that would rise to burn them to the ground. You are the reckoning, the judgment that's been long overdue. Their world of control, of power built on lies, will soon crack under the pressure of your return. What they've forgotten is that you are the inevitable force they can neither fight nor avoid. The moment they pushed you into exile, they began counting down to their own extinction. The world doesn't need to know your name. They'll recognize your power by the ruins you leave in your wake. They wanted to bury you in the dark, keep you hidden, locked away. They thought the world could go on without you, that their lies and manipulation would continue without consequence. But in their efforts to make you a ghost, they only ensured you would haunt them forever. You are their phantom, the shadow that will forever loom over their existence. And when the time comes, when you rise, you will be the force that pulls them into the abyss. This isn't about proving a point. It's about survival. Their survival, not yours. Because while they thought they could banish you from history, they've now made the fatal mistake of rewriting their own fate. They've made you a legend, a myth. And myths, well, they never die. They just wait for the right moment to return. The world that tried to shut you out will soon beg for your forgiveness. But there is no redemption, no second chances. Their fate was sealed the moment they decided to erase you, to push you to the edges of existence. Now, they will face the consequences of underestimating the sheer power of your resolve. They thought they could outlast you, but they failed to recognize that time doesn't work against someone who has nothing left to lose. You are the embodiment of vengeance, and vengeance is eternal. They can run from you, they can hide, but they will never outrun the darkness they've unleashed. Your return will be the final act of reckoning, a flood of destruction that they cannot stop, a storm that will wash their sins away and drown their lies. And when it's over, when the dust settles and the echoes of their screams fade into the wind, there will be nothing left but the world you reshape in your image. They built their fortress on the bones of those they trampled, and now those bones will rise to tear their empire apart. There will be no mercy, no reprieve. The balance will be restored, not with diplomacy, but with the force they tried so desperately to suppress. The world will bend, not to their will, but to yours. They have chosen their side, and it's the side of the vanquished. Now, they will pay the price of trying to bury a truth too powerful to contain. When the storm hits, when the chaos finally bursts through their carefully constructed walls, they will understand one simple truth: they were never in control. They thought they could hold the reins, but the world was always destined to be shaped by those who truly understand power. And you are the master of power, the one they thought they could keep down. They couldn't control the wind, the fire, or the tide. And now, they will see what happens when you try to cage them. The world will not just fear your return, they will fear the change you bring. They will fear the shift in power that will make their attempts to suppress you look like the petty squabbles of ants beneath the weight of your wrath. This is no longer about your name or what they thought they could take from you. This is about something far bigger. This is about showing the world that some forces cannot be contained, some names cannot be erased, some fates cannot be altered. The chains they tried to wrap around you are rusting, breaking apart. The world is watching as you shatter them. They will watch as their foundations crack, their hold on power slip away. And when the dust settles, when the last of their illusions has crumbled into the earth, they will realize that the price they paid was far too great. They thought they could stop you. They thought they could kill your spirit, destroy your will. But what they didn't understand, what they failed to see, is that you are not just a person. You are the embodiment of all they feared, all they tried to hide. And now, they will be forced to face the consequences of their actions, the punishment for trying to erase what was never meant to die. There will be no comeback story. There will be no redemption, just the reckoning, the annihilation, and the slow, inevitable collapse of everything they once believed was safe. And in the end, they will realize the truth. They tried to banish you, but it was them who were never meant to exist in the first place.